Namaste, you're on The Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narsuman coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18. We begin with news just coming through. Oh, it's just getting harder for Pakistan to get any bailout. The IMF now setting stringent conditions. The IMF officials are present in Pakistan for the 9th review, and despite marathon meetings and a lot of cajoling and of course begging by the Pakistani officials to try and give them some leeway, the IMF authorities are very, very clear. It's a CNN News 18 exclusive. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta getting us these inputs, saying very clearly that Pakistan's economic and political crisis really exploding at this point. The IMF wants all political parties on board to signing and agreeing to the bailout package and the conditions to the bailout package. The IMF is not ready to bail out Pakistan with just the assurances from the current disposition. They want assurances from all parties because they also realize how politically unstable Pakistan is, and whoever sits on the throne has to go ahead and adhere and honor the commitments that will be made as conditions of this bailout package. Now, this is at a time when Islamabad is also facing a huge political crisis with the former Interior Minister of Pakistan, Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, who was arrested in the wee hours on Thursday. Clearly, the PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, has opened up cudgels against the current disposition wanting to incarcerate or to try and ensure no challenge to them when they announce elections, and clearly going after Imran's very, very close aides, Sheikh Rashid, and before that Fawad Chaudhry, and Imran Khan himself saying that he could be arrested or assassinated because the plot is only thickening. At this time, to get all parties on board and get a consensus is going to be impossible. The IMF is also wanting ratification from the Assembly over all the steps that they are going to take, which would also a long process, which would take at least 2 weeks for approvals. So there is no way they are going to get this additional bailout. Out of the $6.5 billion package, they've just got about $3.5 billion. They desperately need another $1 billion. To take us through this, we have Ambassador Anil Trigodia with us and also Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow ORF. Sushant Sareen, this is only going to further deepen the crisis. Many are saying it's just a matter of time before Pakistan declares bankruptcy. And with the IMF conditions, it's going to be very difficult for them to honor any of them.
Yeah, but Anand, you have to understand why is the IMF imposing these conditions? Simply because the Pakistanis have been, playing the footsie with the IMF for the longest. They keep making assurances, they keep making promises, they keep signing on the dotted line. And the moment the money comes in, they completely and with gay abandon, they violate all their commitments. And I think the IMF has seen through that game. The IMF is now insisting that they need to upfront deliver on all their commitments. Otherwise, the IMF is saying, okay, fine, we are not going to do anything. Now, the Pakistanis tried first that they will try and get some money out of the Saudis and the Chinese and the Emiratis and the Qataris. Everybody said no. Unless you go to the IMF, we are not giving you money. Now they are going to the IMF so that they can get also the money from these guys. Now, both things are not going to happen simultaneously. And the problem for them is going to be that the conditions which the IMF is imposing is actually good for Pakistan.
Right.
It's ironical, but IMF is actually trying to save Pakistan from itself. The problem is the Pakistanis don't want to save themselves now. They still want to live off freebies. They still want to live off other people's money. They don't want to undertake the kind of reforms which they have to take, which I must add are going to be extremely difficult, because what it means is the contraction of the Pakistani state. The way the state is constituted right now, the state structures are constituted right now, will have to be slashed. The army size will have to be cut. The security force size will have to be cut. The kind of expenditures that the Pakistani government undertakes will have to be cut. Subsidies will have to go. All sorts of things will have to happen. So there is going to be a massive storm which Pakistan will have to go through before they can come on the other side. And they are not ready to do it. And the IMF is saying that if your calculation is that we will down the tube, then you've got another thought coming. Because if you don't deliver, we are not paying you anything. So I think that is where they are at. The only thing is that the Pakistanis might still sign on the dotted line. and then the moment the money comes, again play the same old games which they are so used to playing. So
But
that
here
is where
this
we are
time
at.
around these are
But
nearly
Anand, let me tell you
impossible
one thing.
conditions. Jay,
Let me just add
Jay,
one small thing. All
Jay.
of this that we are talking about, everything, right? What I've just said, is only for the next 6 months. It's only till
Jay.
June when the IMF program ends. Life does not come and the world will not come to an end. Perhaps Pakistan will, but the world will not come to an end on 30th of June. Next year is another fiscal year where
Correct.
not kind of problems Pakistan is facing today, but even worse problems are going to come. And they've already taken money from every quarter possible.
Correct.
So,
And
so
uh,
really they're staring down the,
barrel
they're
here.
staring into a black hole.
Yeah, not just the barrel, they've actually broken the barrel and dug themselves into a hole which just seems to be an abyss. Ambassador Anil Trigoniat, what's the way out for Pakistan? Can they actually do this? Cut Pindi to size is one of the conditions. Bring all political parties on board and make them signatories to the changes that you're going to make. And what they're going to do is they're going to punish the Pakistani people further. That's what they have to do if they have to get this money from the IMF.
Well, Anand, I think, as you know, that the IMF has very strict conditions which are directly impinging on the very basic policies any country really adopts. And the Pakistan has been one of the countries that has always violated. And as Sushant said very clearly, that it's been erratic regimes all along in Pakistan, and they have been surviving on the kind of issues that they have made with the Americans, with the others, the kind of deals that they have cut all along. So they have been hoping that this time also they will be helped by the Americans or others. But the problem is essentially that this time there are multiple factors that have gone against them. A, this has been a man-made disaster. B, it is a natural disaster, be it because of floods or because of the pandemic or the
Right.
Russia-Ukraine war for that matter. But their own policies have, and zero-sum policy against India has also cost them dearly. And that's where the
Yeah.
defense reduction, which is what IMF is saying. But I don't know to what extent can the current Pakistani government bring about
Right.
a consensus in the country. That's impossible virtually because the PTI will not come on
Right.
board under the current circumstances, and they'll continue to do that. But at the same time, one should also see what happened recently when there was a
Right.
conference held where $10 billion were generated at the behest of the UN Secretary General, who even castigated the IMF for its conditionalities.
Well, it's just that जब मुसीबत टूटती है तो सब तरह से you're crowded from all sides, and Pakistan is not just crowded from all sides, from all dimensions. The problems are compounding for them. We've just got more news coming through soon after. Soon after, Sushantji, I'll just bring in this aspect and then I'll come across to you.